In this video, you're going to learn all about how to introduce new songs to your church before you ever play them on Sunday. I'm going to share with you 5 simple ways that you can prepare your church for a new worship song. Coming up. Hey everybody, Spencer here from leadingworshipwell.com, your daily dose of practical worship leading tips. If you want to find those tips, head over to Instagram or Facebook at Leading Worship Well, because I'm posting new worship leading tips every single day over there, or you can check them out on my website. But you're here on YouTube, so go ahead, hit the subscribe button, maybe hit the like button while you're down there, and let's get into it, because today we're talking about how to prepare your church for a new worship song. I don't know if you've ever had one of those situations. I feel like it probably happens every time we introduce new worship songs, but you know that you're doing a new worship song and the time has come to lead it. And so maybe you do a little introduction, maybe you talk about the meaning of the song or why you chose it, and then you start to sing it and people don't sing along simply because they don't know it. You know, anytime you hear a song for the first time, you probably don't sing along with it either because you don't know it. So is there a way that we can allow our church to experience the song in advance and have a fighting chance of actually learning it? They don't have to know it 100%, but is there a way that we can actually introduce the new song to our church before we introduce the new song to our church on Sunday? Well, luckily, I believe that there is, and I want to share with you not just one way, but 5 simple ways to prepare your church for a new worship song. I want to show you how you can introduce these songs before you ever lead them on Sunday, so that when people come on Sunday, even though it's the first time you've done this song on a Sunday morning, they can actually sing along with it. So how can we make that happen? Well, the first way is you can simply post a link on your social media. I know that seems super simple, and it is, but I wanted to start off with the simplest. All right, this takes no work. You find a link to the song on YouTube and post it on your Instagram or your Facebook or whatever. Probably Facebook is better because Instagram doesn't have links, but you could still talk about the link, or you could put it in your bio or whatever, and just post a link to it on your social media. You could do it on your church's social media if you have access to that. I think that's a great social media post, is to say, hey church, we are learning, or we are doing this new song on Sunday, so let's learn it before we sing it together so that we can sing it well. You could do it on your church's social media, or you could just do it on your personal social media. I mean, you are a part of your church after all, so you're probably friends with people in your church, and you can just say, I'm excited to lead this new song on Sunday. I'd love for you to learn it before we sing it together. And that brings us to, what should your post say? And I want to share with you sort of 3 things that your post can say. Here are some ideas. First, like we just talked about, you can just say, hey, we're doing this new song on Sunday, check it out so you can sing along with us. Something as simple as that. Maybe don't use those exact words, but something along those lines. Let's use the song Living Hope by Phil Wickham as an example. Let's say you're doing Living Hope by Phil Wickham this coming Sunday. So you hop on your social media on Monday or Tuesday or whenever, sometime early in the week, so people have a chance to actually learn it, and you post a link, which we're going to cover in a second what you should be posting, but you post a link to the song and you just say, hey, I'm so excited to lead this new song at whatever your church is. I can't wait to sing it with you. If you want to learn it in advance, here's a link to it. So learn it so that we can sing it together confidently on Sunday. Something as simple as that would be a great way to at least move people in that direction of being able to learn the song before they ever show up on Sunday. Another thing that you can do is simply explain why you picked the song. We talked about this in last week's video. By the way, this video is part of a larger series all about how to introduce new songs to your church. And in last week's video, we talked about, or actually it might have been 2 weeks ago now, we talked about picking good songs. And one of the ways that you should be picking songs is that you should actually have a reason that you picked it. It shouldn't just be, oh, we haven't done a new song in a month, so I need to introduce a new song. No, actually have a reason to introduce it, and then you can use that reason, why did you pick it, to create a social media post and say, I picked this song, or we're going to sing this song as a church because X, Y, and Z has been happening, or we need to respond to this specific truth, and this song allows us to respond to that. That's a great way to post a song on social media. Another thing you can do is just explain the meaning behind the song. Maybe pick a lyric out of the song for Living Hope. Maybe talk about that, just the title of the song, like the living hope, that Jesus is our hope, and it's not a dead hope, but it's a living hope that is alive and active today that we still have in these moments. You could type something up about that and just say, like, this is the meaning behind the song. And that gives you not only a chance to introduce the song in advance, but it also gives you an extra chance to kind of explore the depth of the song a little bit deeper than you can on a Sunday morning. So those are some things that you can say in your social media post, but what's the link you should actually be posting? I mean, you could just link out to, all these songs are on YouTube now. That's a great place to start. You could do it on Spotify or whatever too. I prefer YouTube, but you could just do it to the original recording. People have artist pages on YouTube now. But what I like to do is link to a live performance. That's one way, because I just feel like that's a little bit more engaging. It's not just like a picture of the album cover on the screen, but it's an actual live worship gathering that people, I think, at least for me, whenever I experience those, I can connect to those on a little bit deeper level than just the audio format. So I think that's a great way to post a link on your social media. But also, I think there's sort of a personal connection to the songwriter that happens when you do it that way instead of just posting the audio, because then people can actually see, like, hey, this is the person who leads the song. And in terms of getting a view of the whole church, like the universal church, which I don't think that we highlight enough these days, even though it's easier than ever to do that with the connectivity of social media, I think that this is one way where we actually see not just the worship leader, but the entire church, like the universal church, other people in another place worshiping just like we're going to worship on Sunday. I think there's something powerful about that. So consider posting a link to a live version of the song, or you can link out to a song story video. And if you're looking for where that happens, you could do like Worship Together has a bunch of song story videos. Just type the song in to YouTube and you'll probably find a video about a song story, because any popular worship song, I feel like, has one of these videos now. And oftentimes they'll play the song at the end of it as well. So that gives your church a chance to not only hear the song, but also hear the artist's heart behind it. And they experience that depth of the lyrics behind, or the meaning behind the words. And I feel like that allows them to connect with it on a deeper level. So that's just the first way. That's a super simple way. All you're doing is posting a link. It doesn't take a lot of work. Type up something simple. And the truth is, though, that a lot of people probably won't click on the link. And so there's got to be a better way, right? I mean, you can do that, and I recommend doing that. But what if there was a better way, because your whole church isn't going to see a YouTube video link and click on it because you told them to? So what else can you do? Well, that brings us to number 2, which is kind of taking this idea of social media and posting the song on there to the next level. And that is to utilize Facebook or Instagram Live. Is that scary? Well, it shouldn't be, and I'm going to explain it here in a second. But where should you go live if you choose to go live? You can do it either on your church account. Just make sure you have the appropriate licensing to do that. You probably need like a streaming license to do that. Or you can just do it on your personal account. Either are effective methods. Once again, I think that doing it on your church account makes perfect sense. I mean, that's content for your church's social media, and it puts sort of a face behind the account. I don't know what you post on your church's social media account, but it's not always faces. I mean, hopefully there's a lot of faces on there, but for you as the worship leader to get on there live, which is very vulnerable and authentic, I think there's something powerful about that for the people who come across it on your page, that they see like this is an actual person. They're sitting in their living room or they're at their dining room table and just leading the song for Sunday. I think there's something very powerful about that. But even if you just do it on your personal account, once again, you are part of your church. You're probably friends with people of your church, so it's a great place to do it. And people outside of your church, personal pages have more reach than business pages or church pages in general, so you'll get more reach that way, and maybe somebody will be blessed by that and want to come visit your church. So either way works. The reason that it works is because it's something different and exciting. It's one thing if you post a link to some big time artist. Let's say you're doing Living Hope by Phil Wickham and you post a video of Phil Wickham. People are like, okay, maybe they like the song, maybe they'll click on it. But whenever it's you sitting down with your guitar or your piano or whatever you do, and you are the one playing the song, and they say, that's Spencer. He's sitting playing a song, or that's you. I know he leads worship or she leads worship at so-and-so church, and they're sitting down playing a song. Maybe I should listen to that because I actually have a personal connection to them. So it's something different and exciting. It creates a personal connection. Not only is it a personal connection that draws people into actually listening to it so that they can learn it for Sunday, but it also offers a chance to create a personal connection. Like I talked about before, well, for a lot of people in your church, they probably have only seen you lead worship on a Sunday morning, and they don't really consider what goes on in your personal life. You know, I feel like people only see the tip of the iceberg. Like they see you show up on Sunday and you lead some songs, and they probably think that's about it. But you know that it takes a lot more work than that, and this can kind of show that other side where, once again, I don't know if you have an office and you're full-time at your church and you sit down in your office and play it. I mean, how many people of your church have actually seen inside of your office? Or even your home? Like if you're sitting outside on the porch playing this song, that's very personal and authentic, and people build a personal connection with you through that, which allows you to lead them better on Sunday because they trust you more. They see you're a normal person and you aren't just some guy or girl who shows up on Sunday and gets on stage and sings, right? You're an actual person. So this is the perfect time to create a personal connection. Not only that, but you can take extended time to explain the song. On Sunday mornings, you don't have like a ton of time to explain the meaning behind a song. I mean, I don't usually talk more than 1 or 2 minutes tops. I personally don't speak for over 2 minutes on a Sunday morning at any one time, but on a live stream where your sole purpose of the live stream is to introduce this new song, you could take 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I don't know how long-winded you are. You still want to be clear and concise, but you can just talk about the song. You can break down different lines of it, explain what they mean, explain why you picked it, kind of the same stuff that we talked about back in point number 1, what should you say? You can talk about all that stuff, and you can take the time to actually do it and do it in depth because you have more time. There's really no limit. You talk about the song and explain why you picked it, and then play it at the end. And I think that could be a really powerful moment that people actually want to watch because they know you. It's a personal connection. And just the last thing, I just want to encourage you to just not overthink it, all right? Maybe you've seen some videos and they're really high quality. Maybe it's the church down the street that has more people. Maybe it's just a small church and they're doing things really high quality too, and they've got like this expensive camera, they recorded things in advance, they've got multiple angles. Those are cool. Excellence is great. But honestly, at least for me, my personal experience, both of what I prefer and what I've seen just from running Leading Worship Well, people don't want to see polished content. They're sick and tired of very sharp production, I'll put it that way, all right? Because what they see is they see that essentially as an ad. If you look at the ads in your Facebook, the things that, like, if you actually stop and take a second to consume an ad instead of just scrolling by it, it's very high quality. That's what a lot of people are doing these days. And when we see that high quality on social media, we scroll past it because we automatically think this is an ad. And just a little side rant, I can't stand on Instagram stories, I've seen this more and more, where people produce like high quality content for Instagram stories. You don't need to do that. Like, you don't need to film your Instagram story on some crazy expensive camera. My point is, Get a raw video from your cell phone. That is what people want to see. They want to see you sitting in your living room, in your office, wherever. Just take your cell phone, just like this, prop it up on some books so that it stands up straight, and go with it. Go with the flow. Whoops, just dropped my phone. Just go with the flow. That's what people want to see. They want raw and authentic, and we can easily give that to them. We don't need high quality production. Excellence is good, but I feel like on social media anymore, people just want something raw and authentic. They want to see you sit down and play the song and talk like a normal person. That's it. All right, on to number 3. We're about halfway through. Whoops, I just skipped it. Put the song in your pre-service playlist. This is one of the things that I always do, and I've heard a lot of other people do it too. But I want to ask you first, do you play music before your service starts, or is it silent? Let me know in the comments below. Do you play pre-service music? Because I believe that you should be playing music before your service. You should be playing music before your service, just background music, and that's because I really feel like it sets the temperature for your gathering. It sets the tone for your gathering, and I'm not talking about in some super spiritual sense. You know, it's not like you have to play background music or else God won't show up in your gathering. I'm just saying that it transitions people's hearts and minds into that environment that they're in. Plus, if you think about anywhere else that you go, there's usually background music because it kind of covers up that awkward silence. But like I said, it also sets the tone for the room. And at my church, we've pretty much always had pre-service music playing on Sunday mornings, but where I really experienced the benefits of it and saw the differences between playing it and not playing it was on our Wednesday night gatherings. Because about 2 years ago, we didn't play any music before our Wednesday night gatherings. And our Wednesday night gatherings are like, they start at 6:30 and we sing a couple songs, then transition into small groups, and then come back to sing a few more songs. We weren't having music play before that. And then one day I decided, what if we tried to pump some music in here, something super simple, and it allowed people to enter into those moments just with the right attitude, or it helped people. I don't want to say allow, because I think you can do it without music, but music just helps set that tone for your environment. And my point in saying this is that you should be playing music before your service, and then you can introduce that new song that you're playing by putting it into that pre-service playlist. You can put it in your playlist, and then people will actually hear it. And I recommend doing this 3 to 4 weeks leading up to when you introduce it, at a very minimum. You can do it way more than that if you know what song you're going to be introducing way in advance. You could do it like 2 months, but that allows people to hear it. Just another opportunity for them to hear and hopefully learn at least a little bit, or become vaguely familiar with the song that you're eventually going to be using to worship on Sunday. And so you can do it where should you do it? You can do it in your pre-service playlist. That's a great place to start. I know though, like, people don't show up to my church on time. If you want to learn how to fix that problem, click right here. I talked about how to overcome that problem in that video. But you can do it in your pre-service playlist. The people who are there will hear it, and at least some people in your church will be able to hear it and become familiar with it. Another thing you could do is you could put it in your countdown video. I talked about that in the video that I just mentioned a second ago, about why you should be using a countdown before you start leading worship. And you can use a song that you're going to introduce in that countdown video, because probably if more people are in your worship space like 5 minutes before you start your gathering. So another way to introduce, or you can use it as your post-service playlist. So you pray, you say amen, and then fade a little music up, right? And what if for 4 weeks leading up to the Sunday that you actually introduced the new song, if every time your service ended, you started playing that new song that you're going to introduce in a month? I think that at that moment, everybody's there in your church, right? Like they might not be there at the beginning of the service, but they're going to be there at the end of the service. So they're all there now, and they might scoot out in like 30 seconds, but they'll probably stick around and talk for a little bit, and they'll have another chance to hear that song. So something to consider there. And it, like I said, it's all about giving people just one more chance to hear the song before you actually lead it on a Sunday. That's all it is, just one more chance. Just give them one more chance to maybe learn the song. On to number 4. What about a Spotify playlist? This is something that I've seen used to great effect in a lot of churches. And I haven't personally done it for my church, but I feel like I'm going to in the very near future. And this is what it looks like. So a lot of worship leaders that I've seen, and it works really well, is they create a Spotify playlist of the songs in their worship repertoire. So you have those songs that you're leading consistently. I don't know how many songs it is for you. I think for me, I recently boiled down my repertoire, like all the songs that I can choose from, to 60 songs. So whatever it is for you, you could put all of those in a Spotify playlist, or you just do the set list for the coming week. On Monday, hopefully you know what songs you're going to do on Sunday, plan in advance. And you take those songs, put them in a Spotify playlist, post it on Instagram, Facebook, or maybe people are just already connected with your Spotify playlist because you've been doing it for a while. That'll happen over time. And then they can see, hey, these are the 4, 5, 6 songs that we're doing this weekend. They can listen to them throughout the week and engage outside of a Sunday morning. So number 1, they're learning the songs for the coming week. But for a month leading up to when you introduce the new song, you could put that new song at the end of the playlist so people are hearing it on the Spotify playlist for 4 weeks in advance before you actually sing it. Giving people another chance to learn the song. This allows people to engage with the songs you're singing throughout the week. It's not just about leading worship on Sunday morning, but if you do this, you could be leading worship all throughout the week. It's crazy what we're able to do in the digital age. So just add the new song to the list. Add it to the bottom of your set list for 4 weeks out so that people who actually take advantage of that and take ownership of learning the songs for the week, they can hear that song too and learn it before you sing it on a Sunday. And this not only helps people learn the new song, but it helps people learn every song. There's so many benefits to a Spotify playlist, and it also puts personal responsibility on people because it's not just all about you. I've talked about this before. You can't force people to worship. They have to take personal responsibility. You provide the opportunities so that they can respond, and this is a perfect way that they could respond. You could say, if you want to learn if you want to learn the songs in general, but also this new song that we're going to be introducing, here's the songs that we're going to be doing. Take a listen so that you can engage on a deeper level on Sunday. Personal responsibility. And congratulations, we made it to number 5. And the 5th way, and this is, I think, my favorite way, is to lead it in a small group environment. Lead that new song in a small group environment. And first, you have to identify what those small group environments are. So think about in your church, what are those small group environments? Some examples could be a Wednesday night gathering. At my church, that's our small group environment time. We get together, worship, and then break out into small group Bible studies. So we have a bunch of different adult groups and student groups and children groups. But it's sort of a smaller environment because not everybody who comes to our church comes to Wednesday night gatherings. So a small group environment like that, you could do it at leadership meetings. I don't know if you have meetings in your church regularly, but what if you started them off with worship and you taught your leadership, the people who are leading your church or ministries or whatever, what if you taught them the new songs and then they could help you lead the new songs while they're in the congregation on Sunday? That'd be pretty powerful, right? Or just any other ministries you have, I don't know, women's group, men's group, young adults, quilting, I don't know, whatever your church has, contact the leader, and I bet they would love to have you come and lead worship. I mean, I feel like that would make them feel really important. Like the worship leader said, I want to come to your group and lead you in worship. And you can't do it every week. I understand that's a lot of work. But what if you just showed up at a small group and taught that 7 people in the quilting group the new song for Sunday? And then they actually know it when you lead it on Sunday. That'd be pretty powerful. So lead it in a small group environment. And what this does is it kind of transfers that awkwardness of nobody knowing the song in a large environment. It transfers that to a smaller environment. And that kind of sounds bad, but I view it as an advantage because it's easier to navigate around that awkwardness, I think, in a smaller situation because you can speak more specifically. Whenever you're leading a room of 100 people or however big your church is, 500 people, you've got to speak a little bit more generally because there's a bunch of people and they're all doing different things. But when you have a group of 10 people, you can speak directly to them and say, hey, this is why we're singing this song. You want to have a good reason to pick a song and introduce a new song. And so maybe you can talk about why you picked it and relate it to their specific lives. You don't want to call them out specifically, but you know what's going on in these people's lives. Hopefully, you know the people of your church. So speak a little bit more specifically than you would on a Sunday, and that helps people understand the context of the song a little bit more and what it means for them. And you navigate around that awkwardness and say, just like, take this in. You could say that, just take this song in and consider what it means for your life. And the truth is that you won't teach the new song to everybody, but you will teach the new song to somebody. You can't teach the new song to everybody, but you can teach the new song to somebody. Listen, our goal is not to have 100% of the people in the church to know the new song before we lead it on Sunday. That'd be awesome. Maybe that should be the goal, but I don't think it's necessarily possible because you're not going to be able to do that for every single person in your church. But what if you're in a church of 100 and you teach 20 people the new song on Sunday, and then those 20% of the people who come to church on Sunday can actually sing along with the new song that you introduced? That'd be pretty powerful, I believe. All right, just to sort of recap, and I want to close it with one final statement that I think is really important. Just use these ways together for a bigger impact, all right? The first was post a link on social media. Post a link to the YouTube video, write up a little something about that. I went over what to say. Post a link. That's the first way you can do it. Or you can take it a step further and do Facebook or Instagram Live. Hop on Facebook or Instagram Live. It doesn't need to be high production quality. Sit down on your porch outside and prop your phone up with a pile of books, whatever it takes. People want to see raw and authentic you. They want to see who you really are, and that builds a personal connection. So hop on Facebook or Instagram Live, talk through the song, play through the song so people have a chance to hear it. You can implement it into your pre-service playlist so people are hearing it for 4 weeks before the Sunday service, or you can put it in your countdown video or your post-service playlist and play it as soon as your gathering ends so everybody who's there hears it for 4 weeks. That's another great way to introduce the song. Utilize a Spotify playlist. Have a playlist of the songs that you're doing for the week, the set list for the week, and put the new song at the end of that set list so that people can take personal responsibility to learn the song. Finally, teach a small group. Make it more specific. You're not going to teach everybody, but you can teach someone. And it's not about any one of these in and of themselves. Just doing one of these, it's a great start, and I recommend picking one and starting with it. But it's not just about any one of these. It's about utilizing them together. The real magic happens when you take 2 or 3 of these and start doing them, and now you've got 2 or 3 different opportunities for people to learn the song before they ever show up on Sunday. So consider using 2 or 3 of these together, and maybe just start with one though and see how it impacts the next time you introduce a new song. Thanks so much for joining me today. Before you go, I would just want to share with you a free audio training that I put together. It's It's called 5 Tips to Instantly Improve Your Worship Leading. And just like we talked about simple tips in this video, I mean, nothing I talked about was crazy or groundbreaking. Maybe it was for you, but I mean, overall, they were pretty simple things. They didn't take a bunch of work to do. The same is true for this audio training, except it relates to just worship leading in general. If you just discover and make the conscious effort to implement these 5 tips that I cover in this audio training, it will instantly improve your worship leading. So if you want to find that, click the link in the description below, or just head over to leadingworshipwell.com. You'll find it there. It's big and bold on the front page. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you like this video, consider leaving a like. Maybe hit subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. Follow me, Instagram, Facebook, at Leading Worship Well. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for joining me today. Keep leading worship well. See you next time.